Have you ever wondered which skillet makes the best steak, cast iron or stainless steel? Today we're gonna put that to the test and find out which one turns up the tasty. Today we're here to answer the question, which skillet makes the best steak, cast iron or stainless steel? If you've been following along online, Big Steel is out there talking a lot of trash about Big Teflon, and cast iron has pretty much stayed out of the fray, but most of us have both of these skillets in our kitchen. Stainless steel is a little bit lighter. Cast iron is much heavier. Now what they say is that, the cast iron skillet is going to have more even heat distribution and typically provide a better sear, but we're gonna put that to the test. We have done cast iron versus Teflon. And in that case, the cast iron skillet came out slightly better than the Teflon. It was close, but this product is gonna hold up way better over time than Teflon. Today, we're putting it to the test against stainless steel. So we have two identical burners right here, and we're gonna go ahead and get those going. While these are warming up, I just wanna say, in an ideal environment, we'd want these skillets to be the exact same temperature when we drop them down. There is almost going to be no way to recreate that at home, and it's really tough to measure with an infrared thermometer because the reflective surface of the stainless steel is going to throw off the measurement. So in my best effort to try to keep it even, I'll just spot temp these along the way, try to get them to a nice even temperature. Generally speaking, once they both start to produce a little bit of smoke, that's when I like to drop the oil. Today we're using something with a high smoke point. We're using ghee, which is just clarified butter. You can also use avocado oil and many others. And that's really the key. You want that high smoke point to avoid a burning, bitter exterior. Okay, while we're waiting for these to warm up, I just want to share a tip or trick that you can use at home to see when your stainless steel skillet, try saying that fast 3 times, is ready for cooking, and that's the water test. Basically, you can drop the water in there, and you see it's evaporating like that. That generally indicates it's not ready to go. What we want to see is more of a mercury ball effect. We want to see that water ball up and be able to move around the exterior of the skillet. All right, also while I'm waiting for these to heat up, I was curious to see how my idea of testing pan temperature with this would work out. So, first, this is an instant read thermometer, but not really designed, to be used in this purpose. I'm reading right now about 150 on this instant read, whereas using the infrared, I'm reading closer to about 220. Right over here, this is only reading 108, and I think that's just the nature of the reflective surface of this cast iron skillet. Meanwhile, on the instant read, it is also reading, it's reading higher. It is reading higher. This is reading about 130 on the instant read. So since neither thermometer is really going to be appropriate to get these equal, what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the mercury ball test over here, and I'm going to use the smoke test over here. That's something I always use with cast iron. Once it starts to smoke a little bit, not talking tons and tons, but just a little bit, when I start to see those little wisps of smoke come up, that's when I know I'm generally ready to cook. Now, over here, I actually could use the instant read thermometer. I'm sorry, the infrared, because it would give an accurate temperature, typically like about 500 to 600 when I drop it on. Still evaporating, not even close to the mercury ball effect yet. I have both these burners set to the exact same temperature as they cook, but let's see if the stainless steel is ready. That's the mercury ball effect. You see it moving around in there? It's no longer evaporating, it's dancing. That's what we call the mercury ball effect. Generally speaking, that now means that this pan is ready to cook. And look, I don't know if you can see it on camera, I'm starting to get that little bit of smoke over here. So I'm gonna drop in the oil. Go ahead and get that gliding around both surfaces. Even oil distribution throughout. Now, let's drop down these steaks. It's always a good idea to place them down so the steak is away from you to avoid any of that splatter coming back on. We're gonna flip these every minute until they reach an internal temperature of 120 degrees. One thing I forgot to mention before I started cooking is these steaks were seasoned with salt over an hour ago. That's all the seasoning I have in them. And we have found, based on other tests in the past, that salting at least 1 hour does produce great results. However, if you can salt your steaks at least 24 hours in advance, that's going to produce the best results. I did say that we'd salt these steaks about 1 minute after cooking, but I can tell you one difference between these two products is how the meat sticks. This one easily moves around even after I've dropped it, right after I've dropped it, no matter how long it's been sitting there. That's not going to be the case with stainless steel. It has more of a natural mechanism that I kind of forgot about when I was introducing the concept, that it sort of self-releases when it's ready to flip. So when this one's ready to flip, it will let you know. You see, it's not moving around in there yet, but once it does, then we'll flip. And it's gonna be a little bit longer than a minute, but I'm gonna keep these two on an equal footing. And that is one nice thing about the cast iron though. Look at that, it's moving around quite nicely. It's almost ready. This side's moving along nicely, kind of still stuck in the middle, so it's getting there. Take a look at this one, is getting some really nice color on that. Hard to see through the tongs. Getting some gray color, and I got these on about a medium heat. I'm gonna do another video that is going to completely destroy the myth of a ripping hot pan, so stay tuned for that coming soon on our channel. Here we go, this one's getting closer. Don't wanna force it. It's a little bit of a surprise. What's going on underneath that steak? How's that crust looking? Okay, so as you can see, this steak's now ready to flip. It's moving naturally. It's been more than a minute, it's been a couple minutes. Nice color on that, take a look. Go ahead and throw it down on this side over here. And go ahead and flip this guy. Ooh, also some nice color. I mean, right now they're looking neck and neck. The spinalis, or the exterior of this one, is a little bit more well done. Now, one thing I like to say, listen to that. Do you hear that steak sear? Because that right there, that's the sound of tasty. When you hear that in the kitchen, you know you're gonna be eating good. All right, let's take a quick internal temperature on these. 85-ish. This one's about 95, running about 10 degrees Fahrenheit difference. Given the exact same temperature setting on these cooktops, they were both salted and refrigerated for the exact same amount of time, and they are about the same thickness, as best as I could do. See, this one, oh, that one's moving around. That one could be ready for another flip. Here, nope, we're gonna keep that one going on that side. But that one released really quickly on the second side. And I think it has something to do because of that fond that's now built around the bottom. The fond is that color, that's the crispy little bits that you get on the bottom of the pan. Look, this is an experiment about which one cooks the best steak. So I want to sort of really share the observations with you as I go. One thing I am noticing about the cast iron skillet just a little bit is the oil tends to pool more around the exterior of the pan, whereas this stays really centered. The oil stays really centered on the interior of the pan. Now, one thing I will say is neither one of these pans seem warped on the bottom. They both seem the exact same, but maybe there is some warping that occurs over time on the cast iron. We're starting to get a little bit more smoke over here. So I'm gonna go ahead and take another look. On that side, coming along very nicely. Do the same over here. Color's not as good on that one. Same amount of time. Could be that there, and probably is, some difference in how they are holding the heat inside of the pan. I do think that is occurring. This is a thicker pan, thicker skillet. Here we're coming up 108, 112. So I'm gonna go ahead and give another flip. Color's not as good on this side. Maillard reaction is not as good. Getting a lot less smoke over here. Getting a lot less smoke, getting a lot more smoke over here from the cast iron pan, but it's not burning. 113, that one's just about done. One final flip. We have the same internal temperature on both steaks, so we're gonna go ahead and pull those off right now. All right, so these steaks have been resting for about 5 minutes. I've kept the steaks on the side where I cooked them, right? So the cast iron skillet steak is over here. The stainless steel steak is over here. The side that we're seeing here is the side that was first on the bottom when we threw it down. I would say that based upon exterior alone, it looks like the cast iron did get a much better crust to it. It is a slightly more uniform across the entire steak. Over here on the spinalis, or what you call the rib cap, it's a little bit darker on the stainless steel on the same side, right? And there's more of that darkness. On the cast iron steak, I just think it's more uniform across. There's a little bit of blotchiness over here. Plus, I think that when the meat sticks to the stainless steel skillet, is it kind of going to mess with some people, right? Now let's take a look at the other side. Well, there you go. That doesn't look good at all. Whereas over here on the cast iron skillet, it looks much better. So just looking at both sides of the steak, it's really clear on this side that the cast iron skillet got a better sear. Now, with all that said, I think that the sear makes it look pretty. It's going to give it some additional texture. I mean, no one wants to eat a gray looking steak like that. It just doesn't look as good. This side, two sides of the same steak, if you will. This side looks much more appetizing than this side, which almost has like a sous vide type color to it. With all that said, they took, surprisingly, the same amount of time to cook, and both steaks reached an internal temperature of about 122. The cast iron was like at 124. So let's go ahead and cut in right down the middle. Take a look at the color. Is there any color difference there? Good looking steak, medium rare. Also a good looking color, medium rare. I really don't see any difference in that color at all. Sometimes, especially over high heat surfaces, you might get a little bit more graying around the exterior. That's very common with any cooking surface where it's direct heat. Go ahead and scoot these to the side. And now my favorite part, the taste test. Now, given that they were both cooked with the exact same oil, they were both salted, I expect them to taste very similar. So it's really about look. There was no timing or temperature difference. The only difference that I can see is look. Before I taste these, I need to get something to cleanse my palate to make sure I am giving you, the audience, a fair taste test. All right, I'm back. Start over here on the stainless steel side. It's a good steak. It really is. I mean, that's one of the things I like about salting at least an hour in advance is you get that edge-to-edge salty bite all the way through, whereas if you salt your steak right before or right after, that salt's gonna really sit up on top of the steak. It's going to create it's actually going to taste a little bit more salty when you bite into it because it's going to sit up there on top of that. We've done that experiment before. Also a great tasting steak. No surprise there because this is how I always cook them. But so one of the main differences I'm noticing right away, because it has a better crust, it has a little bit better chew to it. Something that I consider a little bit more traditional. I like that little bite you get on a well-crusted steak. This crust that we're calling, that's really the Maillard reaction. That's what happens when meat hits the direct heat. It creates that browning, that nice color that we all like to see on our steaks. I wouldn't have noticed it was missing until I bit in to the cast iron steak piece. Let me go again. For those of you at home, right there, nice color, little gray around the exterior, right? When you bite into this one, you do notice that one side is softer because it just doesn't have the crust. That is a noticeable thing, but you'd really have to look for it. If you're eating this steak at home, you wouldn't know. All things being equal, I would choose the cast iron steak. One thing I have learned about all the experiments on this channel, whether it's cast iron, stainless steel, or Teflon, it is possible to make a great tasting steak right on your stove. That's really important, like on days when it's 0 degrees outside, or let's say you live in an apartment community, you can't have a grill. Yes, I love the flavor, the smoky flavor that the grill provides, but in lieu of that, in absence of being able to do that, going right to your stovetop can be an excellent way to make an incredible steak right at home. Let us know what you think. What do you cook with at home? We'd love to hear from you guys in the comments below. Until then, I have some steak to finish here. I'll see you guys next time.